Hello, Internet, and welcome once again to the always online multiplayer gaming podcast brought to you by MMORPG.com, your home for all things multiplayer related. I'm your host, Mike Byrne, a.k.a. Magic Man, and this is episode 440. 440, of course. We're doing the show live, twitch.tv/MMOBomb. It is Friday. It is 1 p.m. Eastern. That's what we do, except for last week because we did it a day early. But now we're back on Fridays, 1 p.m. Eastern. So join us if you can, twitch.tv/MMOBomb. We always stream afterwards. We have Troy streaming on Wednesday in the week. So there's a bunch of stuff going on Twitch. If you're watching on YouTube or listening on iTunes and Spotify, thank you very much. While you're there, give a like, a subscribe, notifications, turn those on, comment, do all of that stuff that helps videos get distributed. And, of course, tell all your friends. We're going to talk about some upcoming MMORPGs, including a brand new announced one and one that we very rarely have talked about on the Always Online or Free-to-Play cast because it wasn't free. But now, starting to see a little more info on it, so I'm going to bring it up with my lovely panel of hosts, starting with Mr. Jason Winter. What's up, sir?
Where am I? What is this?
What is
How does
this?
this work again? Is
this thing on?
How does this work? Oh God! Oh God! Okay.
Is this thing?
Yeah.
What is in your background? What is that? Is that a creeper?
It's a creeper. We're going to talk about Minecraft a little today. It's a creeper, and he's got TNT for your NFTs.
All right. So, I see you with the old acronyms. All right.
Yeah. I know how to still put some letters together, even though I haven't written an article for months.
Also on the line, Ms. Quinlan Bowers. What's up, Q?
How long has it been since I've been on here?
You weren't on. You weren't on. Yeah, you weren't on last week. Weren't you on the week before with Aspen?
Was I?
Was it? I think it was another ladies episode. Yeah, I think it was.
It might have been. I don't like. This is how time works for me. It's just like this.
It's very what, wibbly wobbly. Is that the way?
Wibbly wobbly timey wimey.
Yeah.
Bear me.
Yeah, I got yelled at last time Q was on, Jason, because I didn't know the proper name for a Doctor Who fan. So Q did indeed yell at me. What did I call them? Whovilles.
Okay, one. The main is because Whoville is a place.
I know. It was the first thing. It's not my fault. It's the first thing that came to mind.
I hope Santa brings me a sonic screwdriver. Anyway.
Jason, before we get started with the news, thank you for helping me with the headlines thing. We've got people's feedback from last week's show with the new or the real or fake headlines in gaming. Our hosts didn't score very well. They scored a little better than I gave them credit for. We'll cover that when we get to the bombs.
I thought I noticed that, but I didn't want to give you the edit.
Yeah, it didn't matter because it was still both players got it, so it was like 3-2 instead of 2-1 type deal. It didn't change anything, but shortchanged them by one. Yeah, and some of our viewers claim to have done very, very well. We'll get to those when we get to the weekly bombs. So on that note, let's get started with some news. All right, chat saying, I hope you do new or fake titles. Again, really liked it. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we will do that again. I got a couple different things. We might not be that. We'll mix it up a little bit. But yeah, it'll circle back. It'll circle back. Absolutely. So last weekend, we had TennoCon for you Warframe fans. You know that small independent company, Digital Extremes? It is still in the boilerplate of their email. You're not independent. We love you, but you're not independent and you haven't been for a very long time. Leyu owned you and now Tencent does. Stop it. Anyway, obviously TennoCon usually very, very big for you Warframe nuts. Gets some new primes shown off, maybe the new expansion or the next part of where stories are headed. All kinds of great events. And Q, on that front, this certainly did not disappoint for Warframe fans. There was an awful lot on the Warframe front, including some content that's just a couple of months away and a look at some stuff that was further down the pike, right?
Yeah, so on the first part, they showed off the Veilbreaker stuff. which brings back Call 175, and players will get to take control of the character and team up with other players to try to rescue some folks. The second thing is the Duviri Paradox expansion,
which is long awaited.
Yeah, and it'll launch this winter, so it's still, that vague. Like you now know a time, but a vague big window of like 3 months.
Yeah, I mean, they're good for that. They're like right up there with Path of Exile and Grinding Gear games, Jason, right? They're like, it'll launch this week. And then we're just like, okay, what day do we get the press release? Like, we just like sit there. They never give us an exact date on anything.
Grinding Gear is better about that. They actually give you a date and the time, from what I can recall. So we'll get on them about that.
Grinding Gear is really good about just giving you stuff like the couple of preview things that I've done. They're I wish everybody else would go and take lessons from them on how to do presentations and provide us with the information we need to do our jobs. Like, they do it better than anybody else.
Yeah. I mean, we won't name names, but there are some companies that they're like, hey, do you want to attend a preview event? And you attend it, and you're like, I don't know what the hell I'm supposed to actually write up at this point. Like, you didn't show me anything. Like, whatever. Warframe.
Or even better, they give you the preview and they say, well, but you can't talk about these 8 things.
Right. right. All these things. They
use the color red. That's all I can say now.
The game is called WildStar. That's all we know. That's all we know. That's all we know. Yeah. So obviously, great news for Warframe fans. And we've got a piece that Q did up that has like every trailer that you could want in there, plus the recording of the keynote presentation as well. So you could check it all out in one post. You won't have to go anywhere. You'll get the Veilbreaker trailer. You'll get the Duviri Paradox trailer. I mean, you'll get it all. And you'll get what I think was a pretty big surprise. I honestly did not expect this. Obviously, they send us press releases ahead of time for a lot of things. And when they have a super big announcement, any of these companies, they'll normally say, like, we have a big announcement that we'll be making, and sometimes they'll send it to us early if we agree to embargoes. Like, for instance, when Warframe's big expansion or whatever dropped, Jason, while the Game Awards were going on, like that was their big reveal like 2 years ago or 3 years ago, and they said it's available now. We knew about that like 48 hours in advance.
Right. So we can get it written up and have the article right up on the website.
Right. So as soon as like we're sitting there, the lady's talking, she's done, click, it's published. This one we did not know about. They just said, and other big announcements, and we're like, okay, everybody thinks that their game has big announcements, you know. This one actually was, as far as Digital Extremes goes, because they actually announced a whole new game, an MMORPG. They're calling it an action hybrid MMORPG set in with themes of romanticism and fantasy, titled Soulframe. Now, this does involve some heads changing over at Digital Extremes because they are partnering with another company, Airship Syndicate, to make this. But no more lead in charge of Warframe. He's moving over to Soulframe, wants to do this. Rebecca, congratulations, by the way, now in charge of Warframe. She's tremendous, absolutely tremendous. So big kudos and congratulations there. And we're going to take a look at this. Now, here's the thing. We don't know a whole lot about this besides action hybrid MMORPG. Named Soulframe. I'm showing you the trailer right now. There is a website up. We're going to talk about that in a minute. There's not a lot on there. So before we talk about the game Soulframe proper, Jason, I want to talk about Digital Extremes making an MMORPG. And for the most part, they seem to be in an assistant/publishing position here. So they're maybe not the primary developers, but there are, people are moving over from Warframe to be part of this team and lead this team. So there is that Digital Extremes thumbprint on this. Is there, in your opinion, a better company right now to try an MMORPG. Like, I just feel like Digital Extremes with Warframe is just held in high regard, even if you're not a fan of the game.
You know, I thought about this with regards to like other companies that were, you know, big successes. The two I think of most recently are CD Projekt Red,
Yeah,
and From Software,
yeah,
who also were really big. And it's like, okay, you know, obviously they had The Witcher, and then Cyberpunk came along, and it wasn't so great.
yep,
But on the other hand, you have the Soul series, and along came Elden Ring, and it was really good.
yeah.
But if either of those two companies had said, we're making an MMORPG, if they had said that like 3 years ago, you'd have said, okay, cool, your last game was amazing. That's going to be great. And Warframe is kind of in that same sort of got incredible goodwill, you know, from its fans. So they are also in that category of a company that, yeah, they could do it, and they are probably a good company to try it, but it's not going to be a guaranteed success.
Well,
just because they have that goodwill and
true.
years of love.
True, but if you look at the MMORPG space right now, Q, there's a lot of like the NFT bullshit going on, the crypto going on, like all that stuff. Free to play has always had that, you know, maybe you're okay with it, maybe you're not okay with it, depends on the cash up, depends on what they're offering. It's always had that stigma, good or bad, for you as a personal gamer. But when you step back and look holistically at Warframe, the development cadence has always been pretty solid. The new content, with a few exceptions, minor exceptions. There's always been quick action on certain bugs and things like that, but you don't see Warframe in the headlines like you see New World in the headlines, right? Like, oh, the economy's just been foobarred. We got to reset everything. Like,
Aren't
you
they
just
merging servers this week or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens. I think that happens today, actually.
Okay.
And then on the monetization front, you never hear Warframe in that conversation about bad free-to-play monetization. You always hear people defending
One
it.
article on our site.
Yeah. That was what, like an MMO Bomb reader post, wasn't it? Like, could you think of a better company right now that is just like, okay, you know what? I don't look at, because this is going to be free-to-play. We know that much. I don't look at that and go, oh, God, they're probably going to screw up the monetization. And maybe they will, but at least from what they've done with Warframe for an extended period of time, you kind of think in your head, all right, they can't really screw up the monetization, right? They know how this works. But it is a very different thing to monetize an MMORPG and to monetize something like Warframe that has dozens and dozens of characters, dozens and dozens of skin, hundreds and hundreds of equipment and weapons and things like that, where, hey, I'm going to wait 2 days for that to build rather than spend platinum on it because there's 1,500 other weapons I can go and level right now. Maybe that doesn't work so well in an MMORPG and a traditional gearing system. And they do have new owners at this point, right, in Tencent.
Okay, well, again, like we've said before, there's a lot of things to dislike about Tencent, but the one thing that is not on that list is Tencent doesn't really mess with how the companies run their games. The things to dislike about Tencent, you know, have to do with not gaming at all for the most part. So excluding that, then you think, okay, well, if your concern is monetization on MMOs, it's not like it's difficult to monetize MMOs per se. Like, example with XIV, they recently came out with that dog mount and the street clothes, right?
Yeah.
And the amount of money they must have made off of those things on the first freaking day. And this is a pay-to-play game, right? But you know, like they basically bought Yoshi P yet another pool just from selling that dog. Everyone in my free company has that dog.
They bought Yoshi P as fruit and nut business.
Right? Oh yeah, that's what they did. So that $25 dog, right? like I don't think it's in it like if they're smart about it, I don't think it's the most difficult thing to monetize. I think where my concerns would lay and would be more like, well, they haven't really done, like, obviously they've done a multiplayer game, but they've never done an MMO. Like, And they did say that they're going to do, like they did with Warframe, where they're open about their development process and all of this and everything else. But I feel like my bigger concern would be, is the staff, have they pulled on the right staff to be able to do an actual MMO versus whatever you classify Warframe as? Because my brain has just never really classified it.
That's a fair consideration, Jason, when you find that they're bringing in Airship Syndicate, a private company in your old neck of the woods down in Austin, Texas. And when you look at their portfolio, right? In 2017, they did Battle Chasers Night War. In 2019, they did Darksiders Genesis. And in 2021, they did Ruined King, a League of Legends story. No doubt, Ruined King, very well received, but not in none of these three screams. They have MMORPG chops.
Well, maybe the combination of the two will work out then. And I've never been one. I've never been one to say, oh, because a company's never made an MMORPG, they can't. Because obviously, what that one company that made those RTS games, I believe they were called Blizzard. I think the games were called Warcraft.
Right.
They did okay with the MMORPG. So
it ended up working for them.
And the fact that they actually have, like I said, the experience of doing an online service, an online game with, like you say, frequent updates and so on and so forth. I'm not concerned that they're just going to screw up and not going to know how to push an update or make a skin or whatever, anything like that. So
this is also obviously on the horizon, very, very, very far down the horizon. Like we are in the, hey, we're working on it. We'll talk to you in X months, X years at this point. We're not going to be getting our hands. It's unlikely we'll be getting our hands on Soulframe anytime soon. So let's talk about what we saw, which granted wasn't much. We saw a few minutes of a trailer, very nature-oriented, kind of character in trouble, saved by nature. Character goes out and starts working with nature to kill baddies. Like, that's kind of the gist of what we got here. Which
good. You stayed awake through the whole thing. I'm glad you explained it to
me. It's not action-packed. It's not, gameplay. It is rendered cinema. When you look at the website, you had to go and solve a little puzzle to get into the website so that you could see some additional pictures. You could then register the name of your envoy, which we don't really have a clear definition of what the hell our envoy is going to be. So I wasn't quite sure if I should have named it as if it were a singular person or if it were like my family name. Like I didn't know, but I went ahead and did that. Some additional pictures and some hidden Easter eggs in there that don't reveal much, but do kind of just translate the page to English. I got to say, I loved this tease. I thought it was cute. I understand it's not going to be for everybody. I liked that it was just hey, we don't have anything to show besides we're working on something. Here's a little snippet. And you know what? Let's have some fun. You got to solve the puzzle if you want to go register your envoy. The puzzle is not extraordinarily difficult. It may take you a minute or two to really figure out, well, where am I supposed to get some information? Oh, okay, that's where I get the information. And you go ahead and you solve the puzzle. I thought it was cute. Jason, from our brief conversation, I'm going to assume that not only do we disagree, but we are probably on polar opposite sides of the spectrum here as far as our initial impression of the trailer, the way it was revealed, and the site proper.
We're not polar opposites. We're like 100 miles above each pole. we're in the stratosphere in terms of how far apart we are on feeling about this reveal. So, over the weekend, of course, people were talking a little bit on Twitter, and I, see, they announced a new thing, the Soulframe. Oh, okay, it sounds interesting. I'm not into Warframe, so I'll check it out at some point, whatever. You message me and say, hey, you want to do the cast? We're going to talk about Soulframe. I say, okay, sure. So I go and I hunt out the trailer, and I watch it, and I was like, well, that wasn't all that exciting.
That's a lot of butt.
Yeah, I like butt just fine. But I was like, I'm used to, when I expect a trailer for a game, I expect some sort of funky action or something cool and so on. And this wasn't it. This didn't draw me in. And if I had nothing else to do, I would have turned it off. I'd have said, okay, I'm done thinking about Soulframe, like maybe forever. But you're like, okay, I got to do the cast. Let me go on their site, see if they have a little more info or something. Give me a little more on it. I go there. I try the thing a little bit. I click around. I'm like, I think I'm matching that symbol. Oh, I guess I'm not. They're not going to tell me anything else if I don't play their stupid little game. Okay, we're done. Soulframe is now to me. Do you remember when we streamed Valorant?
Yeah.
Remember what I said near the end of that stream?
No.
I can't.
Although
wait to
I do have
game.
I do have things written down here like I like but Jason 2022.
I said we were streaming. Yeah, I do. All right. When we were streaming Valorant, I said I can't wait to uninstall this game. And we were done. I did, and I haven't looked back at it again. It is 1:23 p.m. We have about maybe 10 more minutes to talk about this, and then I don't have to think about Soulframe ever again, and I'll be happy.
Unless Mike invites you on the cast to talk about it again.
Well, yeah, that could happen. I know, but
I'll commission him for the first look.
maybe down the road, when we actually get information, maybe I'll give half a damn about it. But
yeah,
they have done nothing at all to make you care about this game unless you are already drinking their Kool-Aid. They're high on their own bullshit, basically.
Yeah, see, I looked at it as like they're not really trying to get you in yet. Like, this didn't feel like hype to me. It was just like, hey, we're working on something. Here's a little kind of snippet of the story, and if you want to go solve a puzzle and register your name, you can. Like, this wasn't an info dump. There is that danger, though, Q, that they start too early, right? Like, once you start revealing trailers, even if they may not be the most interesting trailer in the world for viewers like Jason, you do start setting that expectation of, well, if you're already revealing trailers for stuff, you should be further along in my mind, and thus this be closer. And then you run the risk of the next time we hear information on this, if it's 8-9 months from now, do you even remember it? To Jason's point, no. You know, you're like, oh, yeah, Soulframe. Yeah, okay, fine. I remember talking about that once.
Game Awards, they say they're going to have more info, so like 4 or 5 months, whatever that is.
Yeah, which I think is fine. I think that's fine. Yeah, but if there's not a lot more information there to go with what they're going to do, or a bunch of small reveals a couple of months apart, I think this hype train may have started a little early, Q.
What if they had just maybe like a 2-minute video of a developer saying, "Hey, Soulframe is our next thing. We're really excited about it," and blah blah. Yeah, just do a little bit of that. You don't have to reveal anything.
Well, they kind of did though. Like there was a video.
I mean, they did the show. I didn't see the whole video.
Yeah, there was a video where they were in the Airship Syndicate partnership announcement trailer. They did kind of like do a tour around the office. That was more to introduce that team, but that was very much that. They were talking about Soulframe, and they were walking around the office, and people were doing 3D rendering on computers.
If only they put that on their website where I could see it. Oh, wait. They want to lock out their website because they're so cute.
I mean, it is available on their YouTube channel because that's where I got all of the videos from.
Yep.
If only you had a website, I could just type in instead of having to go to YouTube and type in search. I searched Soulframe. All I got was the trailer.
I mean, anyway, like I don't know. It kind of makes sense to me that they dropped this little bit at TennoCon because TennoCon is for their fans specifically. So this gave, even though they're obviously planning on dropping more at Game Awards or whatever, this is like a treat for, being loyal players or whatever, like being the people who are willing to pay money to be at TennoCon. So and there, like I said, there's nothing, there's like no gameplay or anything like that. It's basically, kind of a very vague Ghibli-esque kind of theme, more or less, like where the big moose god comes and saves the guy. So, I mean, it's so general and so vague that if people are like expecting anything big off of that, I think it's kind of, and two, at this point, if you've been paying attention to video games for long enough, you know that at this point where they're just giving you a short cinematic trailer, they ain't got nothing ready to show you anyway. Like just. Yeah. There's no point in being like super hyped for it instead of just like, oh, I'm kind of interested in this. Look at how long they've been rolling out the trailers and stuff for the Saints Row reboot at this point. Yeah. And they still really haven't shown us anything new.
Yeah, but they actually had a trailer where it showed like stuff going on. I remember that.
Yeah, but it really hasn't shown you any, like, it's like
It showed me guns and shit. Go show me explosions and car chases. Those are great.
Okay,
this character did like magic stuff.
But this is the exact point. It is not about people who have played Saints Row. This is not about people who played Warframe. I'm not a person who's played Warframe. They have done nothing to get me interested in their new thing.
This presentation was for people who have played Warframe. That's the reason why.
Why are we talking about it? I'm not a person who played Warframe.
TennoCon. That's why it was revealed at TennoCon. And then they went, oh yeah, and we're going to show more later on. The Game Awards presentation is for everybody else.
We'll see. Like, I agree with you, Q. There's like nothing to be hype about here right now. I am interested in a company that I have setting aside having a good working relationship with them, because they're awesome when it comes to working with press. Setting that aside, they have a good track record with monetization of free-to-play content, with development cadence, with all that type of stuff. So yeah, I'm interested to see what they will come out with. While I'm
excited for Amazing Eternals.
While I do appreciate the trailer and the site and the like kind of teasing nature and puzzly nature of it more than some, I can't fault you, Jason, for being like, hey, I just want information on the game. Like, I don't want to solve your freaking Rubik's Cube.
I don't even need information. Just give me guns and explosions. There we go. And cars. That'll be fine, too.
Chat speculating that if you ever have a significant other to talk about pregnancy with you, you're going to be like, yeah, I'm not interested. Come back in 9 months when there's something to see. I'm not interested. Do you have a trailer? No, I'll see you in 9 months.
I vaguely remember doing that.
All right, let's move on to another game that arguably might have overextended its hype train a little bit, but one that I'm actually looking forward to. I am also relatively late to that party. Although I have been aware of said game, we're talking about Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen MMO. Although I have been aware of it, I was not watching it very early in its development. I was like, okay, yeah, we'll see, because it was one of those smaller team crowdfunding, and like, yeah, whatever. There's 100 bajillion of these, and most of them fail. I know you're a thing. I'll come back later. And I've been watching it a little more over the last, I'd say, year and a half-ish. I'm not a founder. I didn't donate to their Kickstarter or anything like that. So I am interested in this MMO now. I do think, yes, maybe it's running the risk of when the hell's this thing ever going to come out, because it's been in development for a long time. A long time. We're going on like 5 years-ish. 6 years-ish of us knowing about certain things. I didn't say that was their total development, Jason. I said of us knowing about certain features and systems. Now, as far as... Go ahead, Jason. How long have they been working on the game in total?
On January 13th, 2014, Pantheon Rise of the Fallen was announced alongside a Kickstarter campaign. 8.5 years.
That's a long time.
It's a long freaking time.
That's a long time.
But is it really... it's a long time for us to be thinking about it, but when you consider like how long we know MMOs sit in the hopper, like, and that's the problem with Kickstarters, right? Or anything like that. We know about it before they even get started on making the project a lot of the time.
But even a lot of the ones from that era, whether it's Star Citizen notwithstanding, but at least they have something. You think of the Crow Falls or the Avatar or whatever, at least those have some playable game. This is... I was looking at this stuff and I was like, wait, this is still concept art? It's not even available for people to play in any form yet? Really?
Well, people have, but no, that's not true.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I've seen like streamers invited to go play a dungeon, and like yes.
Well, occasional like testing invite, but like in general, like early access or anything like that. Something any person could theoretically get into. Do they have that?
Well, they have the Founders Packs that get you into different tests, but I don't know if there's a 24-hour thing going on. Let me see. MMO, Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen, Pledge. Where are you? There you are. Pledge. Yeah, it's still considered like pre-alpha sessions. And so there isn't...
It's a long time to be in pre-alpha.
Yeah, there's not like a steady running thing yet.
Long time.
I'm interested in it, though. They are doing different at least in conceptually, right? I haven't had hands-on time or anything like it. And this video is one of their recent ones showing off their 1440 HDR or whatever. Yeah, chat's already saying, like, looks a little dated, looks ugly. Yeah, I mean, it's not going to knock the graphics bar. It's not going to knock the graphics bar off of anything, but I don't think it's as bad as people think. I do like things, though, like conceptually, stuff they're talking about, right? Like raids being open zones instead of, instanced things. Dungeons
Rift
working.
did that 10 years ago.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's new, but I do like that they are talking about these things. 12, 24, and 40 person raids, stuff like that. Dungeons being less linear than they are in modern day MMOs, and bosses could be different. Sometimes you go in there, or taking characters in that have certain skills might be able to find additional paths through the dungeons and things like that. There's just this whole idea of going back to, you want to explore the world. And we lose that in a lot of modern day MMOs with linear dungeons and fast travel and things like that, which granted are serious conveniences to somebody that doesn't have 6 hours on a Saturday to sit there and play World of Warcraft anymore. That's just not my life anymore. I can't do that. So those conveniences are nice, but it does come at the expense of, when's the last time you were in an MMO and felt like you were immersed in a world that you could just, you know what, I'm going to go see what the hell's in that cave. I'm going to swim down here and see if there's anything down here. I do like the mentality of Pantheon. Now, will I like the execution queue? I don't know. I
mean, it's sort of those things, though, too, right? Where, like, we'll look at a new MMO that's coming out, and they have all these ideas and all these things, and we're like, oh, that sounds great. But then when we actually get this thing that we're describing, everybody's just like, we didn't want that.
Yeah, and on like perfect examples like the perception system that they're putting in this game, which applies in a myriad of different ways, but in a very easy example, the perception system allows your character to get different variants of stories from NPCs. This is how it impacts the story aspect of the game, but it impacts in other ways as well. Based on if you have found other things out in the world or explored the world a little bit, this character might have different dialogue, different options that leads to a different outcome for a particular quest, just because you have taken the time to explore the world. That can further be enhanced, if you will, with what is kind of called the keeper system right now, Jason, where if you are a lore hound and you like running around reading every book in Elder Scrolls Online and actually reading it, or finding all those little nooks and crannies and things, like we could go do a dungeon and it's a regular dungeon, but if you have kind of researched by finding things in the world about this place, you might have a keeper ability on your limited hotbar, because it is one of those MMOs with a limited hotbar, that, yeah, you're taking a combat ability away, so you might be a little less effective there, but because you know more, your character knows more about the location, that might open up additional paths or things to do in the dungeon or bosses or things like that. That stuff is intriguing to me on paper.
Mm-hmm.
On paper. The execution could be amazing, but it could also be that thing where you're just like, oh, shit, we got to find a keeper because I need to kill that boss. And, it could lead to annoying things like that. I don't know. And I personally have never had hands-on time with the game. I would love to, but I'm still in the air on Pantheon, but I'm super interested. I just don't know if it's ever going to come out.
Well, you want to know why it's taking so long for it to come out? All of those things that you just described are why.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like we can complain about cookie cutter MMOs, or just go kill 10 rats, go do the dungeons, and so on. But even a basic MMO like that takes however long, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Now you tack on all these extra little fiddly bits that, I don't know if they're like, really well conceived from the start, or if it's just a feature creep every now and then. The director comes on and is like, hey, what if we added this? Oh, hey, what if we add this too? So we can be unique and different. And that adds 2 years, 3 years, whatever, to the development time. And it's like, you want to have it be unique and interesting, but you also want it to not take you 10 years to come out. So.
By the way, I do want to give a little bit of I guess it's a shout out here. If you want to see more information on Pantheon, obviously there is not a ton of historical information on it on MMOBomb.com because it is not free to play. It's not going to be free to play, and until late last year, we were just exclusively free to play. We have started covering it over the course of the last 10 months. There are bigger updates, there are dev panels, there are things like that. So you will see some of the recent stuff. But if you want to catch up, future, just keep it locked on MMOBomb.com. Go check out a YouTuber by the name of Sir Medieval. SER MEDIEVAL. Sir Medieval. Does tremendous longer form content too, but the short form content, if you're curious about Pantheon's dungeons, there's a 9-minute video on everything we know so far on how they're going to work. Because they are dungeons and raids and things like that conceptually are planned to work a bit differently than you may be used to, because the game is focused on that exploration and community type mentality of some earlier MMOs. That means it might come at the sacrifice of some modern conveniences, or there's compromises between that experience and conveniences. And Sir Medieval does a tremendous job of summing up like the goods and bads of those things and just giving you short form content. So definitely go check out the videos on Sir Medieval when it comes to Pantheon. Tons of great Pantheon creators. That's just one I'll toss out there on the top. Jason, are you more interested? You got to pick one. Are you more interested in Pantheon or Soulframe?
Soulframe, clear, easily, because it'll actually look like a game that came out this decade.
Is graphics in an MMO? Are graphics in an MMO that important for you? Like,
well, no, I was gonna say it's also by a respected and well done developer. Like, I don't doubt Soulframe is going to come out. Maybe it's going to be 3, 4, 5 years, whatever. It's going to be a playable game. It's probably going to be a pretty solid game. This, I have less than 50-50 confidence something decent is going to come out of it.
Q?
Yeah, I'd have to go with Soulframe too, and actually partially because the looks of the MMO are important.
Oh, you a bit of a graphic snob when it comes to your MMOs?
Well, and I'm also it's a combination of that, but also it looks like it'll have, like a structured story and everything. And I would really, honestly, I think Pantheon would annoy me if I had to like make all these adjustments to dig for story and lore and everything else in the game. Like I want to know all the stuff, but not like that.
Right. I am more interested in Pantheon conceptually. I mean, Jason's
can have
caveat,
a good concept.
right? Jason's caveat of like, will it ever come out, is certainly something that makes me like it's why I haven't pledged to them.
This was part of my
in their
rant
product.
yesterday on my stream that got me all heated up, talking about games with so much potential.
Yeah,
I can write a 5-page thing on the greatest MMO ever, and you can talk about how much potential it has, but I ain't got the skill to make it.
So I'm gonna go with Soulframe for now, even though that's not something I'm like really hyped for because I don't know anything about the damn thing yet. But I do think you're kind of right. Q, you're right too. You got to have to take the consideration of. Yeah, it's by a bigger developer that has the resources, that has the track record that this is eventually going to release. And I don't personally I think Pantheon will release at some point. I think it's going to release to a pretty niche audience, though. Luckily for them, I'm in that niche audience. I am interested in what they have to offer, but a lot is going to depend on execution. And I just don't know enough about that personally because I haven't had my hands on it. If you've had your hands on it, by the way, and you can give additional detail, like your actual opinions, do so in the comments. Let us know. We're going to wrap it up before we head on over to the weekly bombs here with just a few quick hit news pieces that I want to get your takes on. First up, Gearbox is changing their forums, Q and Jason. And by changing, I mean they're read-only. And then, eventually, when they kick over to their new site design, which they're in the process of doing, they won't exist at all. In fact, they're going to go to Discord, of all things. So I want to get your opinion on this. We've seen games try this in the past. Usually it's been with Reddit, not Discord, where they shut their forums down and go to Reddit. Sometimes it pans out and it's okay. Sometimes we've actually seen games revert and put their forums back up because it just doesn't pan out on Reddit. Now this is going to be a Discord thing instead. How do you feel about that? Because like from a press standpoint, I hate, and this may just be because we're press, I hate when I'm required to join Discords to get information on games when I'm writing something up. And I know Q does too, because we have bitched about it behind the scenes together. Like, can't you just put this on your site? Why do I have to join your Discord, something I know I'm going to leave, and then I got to search through and find the damn thing anyway? But how do you feel as like just remove us from being press, forum type mentality now being pushed over to Discord, Jason?
So first of all, for this whole section, except for this topic, I felt like, I know you like to give like topics headers to sections. I wanted to call this area good for them. That's how I feel about every topic on this list, except for this one. And it's like what I was talking about before with Soulframe. It's like, this is a good move for people who are already into this, who are already into Gearbox stuff. Whereas if I'm someone, like you said, someone who's not even pressed, someone who's just like, oh, yeah, something about Borderlands I want to look up. Oh, let me go on the internet. Let me search. Wow, they don't have forums. I can't read it there. I have to go to their Discord to find something out. Whatever. Not that I spend a lot of time now, but every now and then when I search for something about Warcraft or whatever, I wind up on forums and I'll see something there and I go, okay, that's what I'm looking for. There's some info there or whatever. I'm not going to be able to do that now. So it's going to limit, I think, how much they grow to some degree. But like you said, it's something that they don't have to maintain anymore. So maybe it's not that bad. Maybe they're thinking about it on that side of things to do it in that way. So I'm a little ambivalent about it. I could see some positives and negatives. If a game company I really liked decided they were going to do this, I don't spend that much time on forums anyway. Back in the day, I did spend a good amount of time on the Lotro forums. And if I was still into Lotro, or if even now Guild Wars 2 or something, if I was still maybe Lotro back then when I was on the forums, I don't know if I'd want to join their Discord. Because that just seems like a big step to me. You got this Discord with a million things, along the side there, and it's going to give you notifications all the time. You're like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to go when I want to go there. So
yeah, I'm the same way. You know how many video game Discords I belong to? Like actually the game's Discord, not Jason and I like Final Fantasy, so we have our own Final Fantasy. I'm talking about like
hey, don't tell people about that Discord. That's supposed to be a secret.
Zero. I don't belong to any.
Yeah, same.
I don't belong to any. I find them just more irritating than anything
Actually,
else.
one. No, I do have one. I'm sorry.
What game?
It's
Lotro.
What's that?
It's Lotro. It was like
no, it's actually no. The company that makes the baseball sims that I like.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Q, how do you feel about this? I think it's dumb.
I mean, I don't think any of it would bother me if they would all just put their news on the site. I don't use forums anyway. I haven't used forums and it's kind of the same thing to me, signing up for the game's forums. And I mean, yes, a lot of times, at least back in the day when you'd sign up for the game, you automatically had to log on to the forums, right? Like it just kind of, but like other ones would make you sign up separately for the forums if you wanted to be on the forums. And I think the last forums I was on was the Secret World forums. Like, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was it. That was the last forums I was on for a game. So it's kind of the same thing. Like, I did join. I think it was in the Cyberpunk Discord for a really long time.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was one that I was in. And then I'm in like Discords for when I've done interviews. Right, I have the Discords associated with that I just now leave there because they'll probably invite me back if I do it.
For me, those have always been like private press Discord, not like
right.
where
There's
they have their
that
fans
kind
or whatever.
Of stuff.
Yeah, that's fine.
I like if they would just put the main information there. I really wouldn't care if you had it in your Discord because people do join Discord for things to look, and or on Reddit. Although I think. I'm not sure which would be easier to search because obviously the one benefit to forums is that it was all very structured and you'd be like, all right, I need to know this thing about some sort of system thing. And then I go to this section and then I can see if anybody's asked the question. But I mean, it's just not that big of a deal to me anymore either way. If they would just put the information, the news information on their websites. That's all I want.
Yep,
Is the
I
news
agree.
on the website.
Mhm.
Otherwise, I don't care what you do with your communicating with the fans thing. That's between you and your players.
Minecraft saying, get your NFTs out of here. They're going to be updating their actual terms of service, but in the meantime, they did communicate that, no, don't be trying to create or distribute or sell NFTs utilizing Minecraft assets like skins, or you making your own skins and things like that, selling them as NFTs. We are not going to do that. That is not what this game is about. You are prohibited from doing it. We're doing this because we want to ensure that Minecraft remains a community where everyone has access to the same content. Kind of always been the mentality of Minecraft. And they say NFTs are effectively the opposite of that. So to ensure a safe and inclusive experience, nope. Not allowed to make in-game content like world skins, mods, all that stuff. Put it in Minecraft. This was met with thunderous applause by just about everybody, Jason.
Yeah, good for them. Good for Mojang.
And then we immediately put up today that Tim Sweeney, in response to being asked about this, said, oh, no, I applaud what they did. That's fine. But the Epic Game Store will offer you these NFT games because I don't believe anything should be restricting your access. If you don't want to play it, don't play it. It shouldn't be on us to bounce them out of here. So, okay.
Okay, Tim, you do your thing.
Q, InnoGames is apparently telling you exactly how much, or at least pretty damn close to how much you can expect to make if you come work for them making some games, huh?
Yeah, they posted a list that it's not everybody, but it's about 80% of the various jobs that they have would make. And of course, it reads a little bit like you would expect, like first level QA testers make like 20K a year. Yeah, versus, product heads making 117K. The whole idea is for, they feel that the transparency not only helps the people apply or, wanting to apply for jobs, try to figure out where they want to be, but it also helps them as a company with retention and stuff like that. So they figure it's just beneficial all the way around.
I did like the one thing they specifically pointed out there, too, was like, hey, we also want to show women that there's no gender gap here. Like, we don't care. This is your position. This is the salary. That's all that matters. So I did like that they specifically pointed that out, too. It's interesting. I don't know how many companies are going to follow suit. Probably not very many, but it is interesting. On the flip side of game industry work, more of Blizzard's employees walked out yesterday over reproductive rights, gender equality, harassment issues. Again, they staged another walkout. But then Game Workers Alliance Albany is looking to unionize. This is the studio from Blizzard Albany that used to be Vicarious Visions before they were picked up. This is on the heels of Raven QA actually officially unionizing. They have asked Blizzard, just as a matter of process, to voluntarily recognize the union. Blizzard will reply publicly to that at some point. So, Jason, here's another group of QA, another studio inside Blizzard, rolling the union ball down the hill. Does it start to continue to pick up speed, or is it only going to be these like small pockets of 20, 30, 50, QA testers or things like that?
Good for them. Again, good for them. But yeah, I think it is. I think it's getting the ball rolling. I think this is a good trend that's going to keep going, and not going to hit every company, maybe, especially the ones that have not been as screwball as Blizzard. I like the notion that say they're going to have a public response at some point. It's probably going to be, we respect your right to unionize, but we really think you shouldn't. Here are all the horrible things unions do.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be their public response, of course. But
well, that was the response they already gave, that we believe.
Oh, they already did that? Okay.
But they did not formally say we're not going to voluntarily recognize or we are going to voluntarily recognize. But they did give their boilerplate statement about we believe a direct line to management is the way to go. Ninja Pandas, Blizzard did get, are bouncing gender out of character creation in WoW and stuff like that too. So continue to see changes on that front. And last up, Bungie is suing a Destiny 2 cheater who allegedly threatened to burn down their office, among other threats the person is being accused of against staff.
Good for them. Another good for them. Nail his ass to the wall.
The question: how many people has Bungie sued now?
Oh, a lot. Yeah, Bungie's lawyers are on a rampage right now.
Yes, Bungie's just like,
yeah.
What? And it shocked me a little bit when I was reading it. Not this, because it was like I was saying something to somebody about it yesterday in my free company, and they were like, "Wait, you can sue for cheating?" And I was like, "Well, it's usually things like they determine that you lost, like you." Not necessarily the cheating, but the creating of cheats or whatever is what it's generally been. And they determine that you're just distributing
not possession, it's distribution.
That has lost them X amount of money.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the basis of their lawsuit, is you're costing them money. So, but here it's just like, when I was reading through it, I'm not shocked that they're suing him for, well, probably what they should have just reported him to the cops and had him arrested, because that seems like an arrestable offense to me. But
I wonder how much cops pay attention to online threats these days. You know,
that's true, I guess. Yeah. But just the infringement thing was based on it was a little bit different. Like, it's a little bit different tack than they've taken before. So I thought that was the tiniest bit interesting.
We shall see. Gamers stop being stupid.
Gotta say props to Aspen in her, her area where she lives, talking about that Kyoto Animation arson attack from a few years ago.
Yeah.
Something that would have been a little closer to her, so.
Yep.
Cool that she brought that up.
Great articles. Absolutely check them all out. We're going to slide over and get started with the weekly bombs. I'm going to go first. I'm going to give an A-bomb to Charles Boyd leaving SWTOR. I mean, obviously, I wish Charles good luck and in his future endeavors and everything like that. But I'm going to give it an A-bomb for him leaving, because it's kind of, at least the way they're reporting it to us, it kind of seems like now SWTOR is going to be run by committee, like 5 different heads of various departments kind of just doing their thing, at least for the short term. So honestly, SWTOR is a game I am concerned about its future over the last year. Their expansion was pretty bad. Charles Boyd leaving. Now this kind of like running by committee for a little bit, and maybe that's the way they do it from now on. I don't know, but I'm a little concerned about where SWTOR is going. Jason, off to you.
Maybe it'll fold and they'll bring back galaxies.
There you go. One can hope.
I'm going to give a dub bomb to No Man's Sky, which I finally tried out this month after I got on Game Pass. And, certainly when it came out, when it was coming out, I saw the hype and everything about it. I was like, wow, space exploration game, all this stuff. It looks real cool. And then, of course, it just absolutely shit the bed, with everything that happened.
It's had a long recovery.
Yeah, that's the thing, is I knew it had recovered. And it's like, it sounds like this is the one where it's gotten better, it's gotten better, it's gotten better. Maybe I'll try it. Finally went ahead and tried it, and I am loving it. I'm loving the exploration aspect of it. Just the chill moments of, just like you said yesterday, and No Man's Sky is supposed to be a nice kind of chill game. So why was I getting all heated up,
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really nice. They just added a new thing where you can do a lot more with your freighters too. So trying to figure that out, and building my bases and just scanning. I love scanning for life forms.
Life forms.
Just the life forms. Yeah.
Where are you? Q, what do you got?
I'm going to give it...
25
Boy,
years
that
old,
was 2 Star Trek dorks.
28 years old.
That was
years.
2 Star Trek dorks in their absolute glory right there. Go ahead, Q.
I'm actually going to give a bomb to Chimera Land. Justin's been playing it and streaming it to me in Discord. And I mean, for a 10 gig free-to-play game that he's like, yeah, it's jank. But it's kind of like all the stuff that it's got for you to do in it, it's it's just kind of, at least on my end, fun to watch. And there's points where I was just like laughing my ass off at some of the stuff. Like he goes to fight this giant crab, and I mean it's massive. It's this massive crab, and it's like got the the critter catching element, right? So he gets the egg, and I'm like, okay, so see if you can use this thing as a mount. And like this giant ass crab is like this big. He's riding around on top of this tiny ass little crab.
We have on Tuesday of next week the Evil Dead first look video going up, and then Anthony is in the process of doing the Chimera Land first look, so that may be up next week as well. From viewers here in Twitch chat, highlighting theirs because Jason is here. Nasagra says, "Da-bomb to my Steam Deck finally being in transport. A-bomb for it being shipped by FedEx. You'd better not screw this up, FedEx." I love it. I absolutely love it. We are going to talk a lot more about it on tomorrow's Gaming Gumbo, so join us over there, 7 p.m. tomorrow on Ready Check Radio. Takal says, A-bomb to Yoshi P with his turn-based hating ass. Yeah, talking about why Final Fantasy just isn't going to be turn-based anymore. Ninja Panda's A-bomb to the heat wave that the UK just had. Yes, hope all of our UK friends are safe. Yes, I got it burnt and currently peeling on my hands, and what Europe is currently going through, since it's just a pain, hot air and heat, it's just unbearable. Japan's Freak says, "Da-bomb for Jason for streaming for 31 days in July and streaming for Yakuza 0 on my birthday."
Thank you.
And Stojan says, "A-bomb to YouTube for taking up my whole free time." From the viewers on YouTube and over on mmobomb.com, we've got Effects on chiming in. A-bomb to myself for randomly collapsing and ending up in the hospital. I got 7 out of 7. That's a reference to our headline game in last week's show. 7 out of 7. Damn impressive if it's legit. Random ass A-bomb. We obviously hope you are all okay. Give us an update, Effects on next week's show. Go ahead, Jason.
Alan Moo says 52 employees, 1 HR, 1 worker bee, and 50 managers asking why it's taking so long. As we say in Ohio, too many chefs and not enough guardians? WTF.
Yeah, talking about development of some games we were talking about last week. Go ahead, Q.
Orange Jabber, Da-bomb to TennoCon 2022. Lots of news. Brand new game called Soulframe, and Rebecca becoming the new creative director. Well deserved. She's very passionate. Can't wait to see what changes she brings to Warframe. Also, 3-7 correct. Xbox, Satan, and Football Manager.
Got the Football Manager one right. Next up, we've got Slinky.
So wait, if I'm not mistaken, then he was. They're also fooled by all the mine, because those are all the real ones. So there we go.
Next up, Slinky Rock. Slinky, I divided your comments up a little bit here and applied some to the weekly bombs and some to the question of the week. So forgive me. Da-bomb to Destiny 2, picked it up again, having a blast grinding out weapons and making new builds. Destiny 2's reveal of Lightfall's coming up in August. You can find that news on the site. A-bomb to we still don't have a good MMORPG that's worthwhile. Heroes of the Storm is absolutely not a casual game. It's easy to pick up for sure, but it's in its simplicity lies its complexity. It's much more teamwork focused than League of Legends, which honestly is kind of why it became a turnoff. Unlike other MOBAs, this one is much more team oriented, and it's hard to enjoy yourself without a pre-made group. I don't know. Did somebody say that it was a casual one? I know I would definitely agree with you that it is infinitely more approachable for a new player, but I maybe Anthony did. I don't think I would have referenced it as being casual. Maybe I did. And if so, yeah, I meant exactly what you said. You're right. You making fun of Aeon's choice to make their PvP class-based, basically, hero-based. But I'm going to pose a problem to you about PvP. In Destiny 2, your character can have a lot of different gear with a lot of different stats and with a lot of different effects that you're flat out unable to see until they reveal them. The game has such freedom that you can switch weapons and armor on the fly, even in the most competitive modes. For Destiny 2 in particular, most PvP players agree that if you had loadouts where you knew what to expect and how to fight, the game would be much better. You would know where a player can jump to or where they can be based on the loadout they bring. So it's not a crazy idea to lock your character in PvP setting to increase how competitive a game can be. Now, of course, we dislike our characters being visually replaced, but this isn't too different from what XIV does with its, quote, PvP. So, while I totally get what you're saying, and I don't disagree with anything like there, I think the reason I make fun of Ion for it is because Ion's a decade old, established on this hardcore PvP front as like original taglines for it. And now they're stripping that out. And now it's just going to be hero-based. It would be like if Destiny 2 did exactly what you are saying now. That would not be received well, except by a small group of fans. Now, if they wanted to model PvP that way in the next Destiny, Godspeed, go ahead. But Ion changing it now, that's a little silly. Go ahead, Jason.
Marcona says, I really enjoyed Shadow Arena when it was a battle royale. Then they explicitly made it more of a 3v3 arena game, and it lost me.
That was kind of my feeling on it, too. I didn't hate it as a battle royale. I mean, that's a ringing endorsement. Quote me. But yeah. Question of the week last week. We're pretending both are absolutely 100% coming out. As somebody pointed out on Twitter, you can't pick Blue Protocol. It's never going to come out. Tower of Fantasy is actually coming out. I said this was a theoretical podcast discussion, not news. Settle down. Are you looking forward to Blue Protocol or Tower of Fantasy more? Yes, I know. They may end up in slightly different genres and release windows, but which one, why, or why not? Nasagra says, you're telling me a company that uses predatory monetization like gacha mechanics might be scummy? Surprised Pikachu face. If Tower of Fantasy wasn't a gacha game, I would be more excited for it than Blue Protocol. I want game with the open world exploration and cel-shaded look of Breath of the Wild, but with real RPG mechanics. Tower of Fantasy or Genshin could have been that game, but gacha mechanics tie up so much of the power progression to pools instead of actually playing the game that it ruins any sense of progression. So I kind of argue that while I get you, I don't like gacha either. Does it really, though? I mean, it's a single player, for the most part, RPG that you can totally play and complete with the provided story characters. Maybe there's the argument that you want those 4 and 5 star pools for some of like the really difficult abysses and stuff like. I don't know. I'm not a huge
the best waifus, man.
Yeah, there you go. Best waifu. Go ahead, Jason.
Chirac says 3 of 7 correct. Questionably the one with the least intrusive cash grab shop.
Yeah, that's probably going to be Blue Protocol. Probably going to be Blue Protocol. Go ahead, Q.
The Pie Maker. From what I've seen, Tower Fantasy looks to have a similar open world exploration and traversal gameplay as Genshin and Breath of the Wild. I think if you even get a motorbike and a boat aside from a glider, it's also supposedly an MMO, but having no hands-on experience, I can't verify the validity of that claim. Knowing all this, I'm still much more keen to see how Blue Protocol turns out. Win against my gut FBR for the Sony sweat detecting controller headline, but I still got 6 of 7 on the quiz. Also, Mike, you didn't give Anthony and Troy their points correctly, guessing that the Xbox 360 story was true.
Yeah.
P.S. Anthony's cat is adorable.
Yeah, it doesn't change who won. It's like a 3-2 game instead of a 2-1 game because they both got it right. But you're right. I did not continue counting that when I should have. RS Jabber says, question of the week, Tower of Fantasy looks better, but I hate gacha systems. Blue Protocol wins this one despite all of the delays. Go ahead and finish it up, Jason.
Slinky Rock says, what I'm excited about with Tower of Fantasy is seeing new games that are trying new spins and perfecting the Genshin Impact formula. Much like I expect new Elden Ring types to come out, that take that, made that game great and make it better with other things. Also, I'm more interested in whatever game between Blue Protocol and Tower of Fantasy has more of a trinity, which I'm going to guess neither will have, and Q keeps highlighting stuff so I can't see words. Okay.
Sorry.
I guess neither will have a trinity, but one of them has at least some form of tanking or support. I'll lean towards that.
Yeah, that's probably going to be more Blue Protocol too, since Tower of Fantasy is going to be you could do an awful lot single player. Question of the week this week. I was going to ask about Soulframe, but we don't have a lot of info yet. So if you want to leave your early impressions or your thoughts, like we talked about when it comes to Soulframe, by all means, put them in there. I'll bring them to the show. But the official question of the week is, are you looking forward to Pantheon? Why or why not? What's the most interesting feature being described to you so far? And I guess we should just add in there, will it ever come out? Like, will it actually make... Yes, I think we'll progress through alphas and betas that people can play and more will get their hands on it. But will this actually see an official release date? Let us know your thoughts on Pantheon below. Don't forget your weekly bombs. Dub bomb for something good, A bomb for something bad in the world of gaming or just life in general. Until next week, Q, where can everybody find you?
Lurking on Twitter at Quinlan.
Jason.
Find me on Twitter at Winter Informal. Streaming still rest of July, 10 days left at twitch.tv/JasonWinter. I'll be going live right after the show. More No Man's Sky.
I'm Mike Byrne. You can follow me personally right there, but more importantly, follow at MMOBomb, so you'll get a tweet every time we go live with a stream, podcast, put up a video, a giveaway, an interview, articles, and more. Until next week, stay safe. We'll see you on the servers.